Hey party people, welcome back to MVM, and today I'm here with the preview for Terminus Frontier. And I should say this before we start, of course the series is always sponsored for these Kickstarter and GameFound games, but I want to make sure I'm showing you games that don't suck. Games have flaws, games have things that need improvement on, but this is a prototype, and everything you see here is in prototype form. But mechanics are solid, the game is solid, so that's why I'm showing it to you. I don't want to show you trash. That's not how we do it. All right. So what is Terminus Frontier? It is a campaign game, and I believe it does have one-shots too. I'll put that down here so you can see it if it is. It has one-shots. But from what I know, it is a campaign game. I saw this last year at, I believe, Origins. I met the designer and showed me this stuff, showed me some things that like really excited me. So I'm going to like really emphasize those things that excited me and why they did. And I was like, man, hey, when you ready, I'm ready to take a look at this game. So here it is in front of you, almost a year later, at least half a year later. And here it is. It is a 1 to 4 player game, and you can play as a solo. And there's like a way to play it solo that's real easy upkeep, sort of like Oathsworn, that kind of level of upkeep. It's very low, and you are playing as these different, different members. They are kind of in a cyber world, so it's more like more Mass Effect-y than normal. You're going to be fighting off against different types of enemies, and you'll be on like assault missions. You'll be on stealth missions. You'll also fight bosses. You'll have rescue missions as well. And there's some things that probably I haven't even seen yet because we just got like a tight couple scenarios in the game. But basically, this is a no dice game. It's got an interesting little trigger system. It's got some interesting ways to do combat. And the big one here is this squad formation. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you how to play. I'm going to kind of squeeze it down so you don't have to see every freaking rule. There's a great playthrough by Meet Me at the Table that they did a real good job, and Co-op Guild as well. Take a look at those to get the very specifics, and they show a lot of the details of every rule and the full gameplay. I have to say that because I always like to promote my fellow content creators, especially the ones that do solo and co-op, because we're kind of a community. All right, here we go. This one here is kind of a condensed version of the first board, the first level, which we are trying to take out the specific guy. And what you're going to be doing is playing over certain rounds, and it has a set formation of how the round goes. And we're trying to get through the mission before the event deck runs out. So there's usually a timer in the game. It's going to have AI cards and also scenario cards, and those scenario cards will trigger during certain points between rounds. So you're paying attention to that. You're going to go into a book. It's going to tell you what happens. There's even different ways they play with that, specifically for bosses that are in the game. Now, how do you play? Well, what you're looking at here is, like I said, a modified setup for the game. On the left over here, you have the squad, their squad cards. I also have these NPCs. They're going to be part of this. They're colonists. They don't really do much. You move them around. And then we have our layout here, which is always going to be set up specific ways according to player count, all that stuff. And then we have our squad formation, which we'll get to. Our player boards are interesting. They have a lot going on, but very easy to understand. You have different components here. There's different parts of the body here, your head, your arms, your chest, your legs. And as you can see, there's places to slot items into them to kind of upgrade your body. So they upgrade the shields on your body. They may help with your adding to your hand, your movement speed, also just protecting your chest, because your chest is like the last strike on your health in a sense. So you can actually get damaged in your specific parts, and when you do, you get cards that represent injuries that you would have, like this one here is a flesh wound, this one here is concussion. So you'll have specific things that happen to you that will traumatize you, and you have to heal those things. But if damage gets through all that, eventually you're going to start taking hits to the chest, which will knock you out. And there's ways to recover, but like I said, we're not going to get into the weeds. Up here on the top, we have Resolve, which you're going to get from this board, the squad formation boards, which we'll touch on later. And then we have our stances and mindsets. Stances are like your advantages during combat, from what I've seen so far. So they're like, for the gunslinger, I could shoot from my other weapon at the same time. Makes sense. Gunslinger, right? Okay. And then I also have a mindset where I get a specific tag, helps me aim, makes me shoot really cool. So I'm like kind of, like real accurate trickster, kind of think like Star-Lord type character. All right, so then we have the Zealot. The Zealot is more of a brute in your face type character. They have the same thing, similar health situation. I got a couple extra +1 tokens on there. And then I have my weapons over here, but he has a regular weapon, and then he also has this arm. It's like a bionic arm, you know, kind of like Bucky, let's just say. What does he call it? The Winter Soldier in the Marvel universe. So he has this special arm that he can kind of come in with. It's treated as a weapon in the game, so it's pretty interesting, right? There's a weapon in the game. All right, so that's my layout for this. These AI cards will be here. These are different decks that represent how they're shooting. So are they shooting with their best weapon or their best burst, or are they shooting light weapons, and then also their melee deck. All right, so the round. The round starts with our formation here. We're going to have a squad formation phase. You start with the squad leader, who's going to be the squad leader. This moves around, and then we go over here to our squad formation. Now, what you're seeing here is a 1 through 11. This is an order of how you're going to decide how you want to be moving on this track. So this is where I actually sit here and make a choice. I got my hand, you know, like I'm looking at stuff, and I'm saying, hey, like I want to go fast. So maybe I choose the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or 11. So any of the odd numbers, and I'll place it at these spots. But let me explain why you would choose what you would choose. On the left is a threat track, and often enemies are going to target people who are the highest threat in the round. So before we look at the AI card for the round, we have to determine, like, how fast do we want to go? Do we want to move and attack? Well, maybe I want to go up here. Well, this will tell me several things. If I go up here with my Maverick, who is really kind of made to kick butt real fast, maybe I can get to move right away. Or if I went down here, I get a +1 to my attacks. Or if I'm really patient, I can get a reaction card, and those reaction cards go into my hand and they give me attacks, so I can kind of go back, fight back. And then if things get too intense, I could go here, heal myself up, and then go back down. So this is different ways to do it, but the further down I am, the slower I am, and enemies can potentially go before I do. So we're trying to pay attention to that thematically speaking. So I'll just go ahead and do this. I'm going to move +2 on this track. So now I have the highest threat before we even go into the round. But I did also pass one of these resolves, and I'll just explain that very quick. Resolves are like your limit break. As you gain more of these resolve tokens, you'll be putting them inside of your board like so. And as you put them inside of your board, you're going to have the potential to use that to attack. Now, if you play like a game like Final Fantasy VII, where you kind of get your limit break attack, this would be similar to that. You're kind of gaming up a meter, and then you can attack as you see fit. Of course, thematically, this stays in tone with each character, so you got to think about that too. So you're trying to raise that up. And of course, the more dangerous you become, you also get cool stuff, but you also become the primary target. So it's very important to not be marked all the time. You got to kind of play with that, and there are ways to reduce it. Okay, so let's say I'm the back. I want to be kind of down a little bit further. I want to be able to react to enemies, but I think I still want to stick up here. Now, the other part that goes into this, and I'm only going to go up one. I took my guy, sorry. I'll just say I was here. All right, so I think I was here. So let's move up. And then I got my number 2, okay? So the reason why we also want to stay up here, I got my +1 as well. And then the reason why I want to stay where I'm at is because that's a number of actions I'm going to get as well. So I got my +1 because I was here. I realize I put this on before the camera. And I get to move 2 as well. So I'm going to move, and movement is, you know, up, down, left, right, diagonal. So I'm just going to go move here because I want to make sure that I'm very close and I can shoot this guy. Quick little movement. It's from the middle to the middle. So you just got to pay attention to that. So that's going to determine how we're going to go, all right, and how fast we're going to go. I have 2 action points for my gunslinger, my Maverick over here, and then I have 3 action points for my Zealot. Now, we're going to take a look at the enemy cards, and I'm just going to slide them over here. These are going to tell you a little bit of the story that's going on, and also it's going to give you an idea of which squad is going to move and what order they're going to move, and also their activation. So I have the yellow squad over here. I'm going to look at what they have, and then I'm going to move it to 8. So they're going to go after both of us. That's awesome, okay? So we want them to go after us. It's also going to tell us what their kind of mindset is. Each enemy has, like, all these enemies have these different mindsets. So I call them mindsets. So what they're going to do is they're going to take a certain attack based on the icon that's there, but they're also going to take like a tactical approach. So maybe they run behind cover, maybe they try to flank you, maybe they advance forward, shoot you, and also try to stay in cover, like a run and gun type style. So there's also going to give you some of that. There's enemies that will charge, so they are being very aggressive, like bosses are very aggressive. They're going to charge you, and you'll have conditions like smack back, you know, like what is it called? Yeah, smack back. You'll have all these different things that happen based on what it says. So these guys are going to be like duck and cover, trying to get behind stuff. All right, so we know that's coming when they attack, when it's time for them to attack. So we're paying attention to that. All right, so when we go, we're going to take a look at our cards. So we have 5 cards, and those change according to what's in here. So my guy over here, the Zealot, actually gets 6 cards because he has a helmet that gives +1 to it. It also gives him +1 to his head because he's got a helmet on. And what we're doing is we're looking at our cards. Now, on the left side of our cards, we're going to have our action points. On the right side of our cards, it's going to tell us the actual threat that we're going to get for playing the cards. As you can see in my hand, I have some that are 0, but on the right side, I may have something else that will, you know, give some extra heat on, or I call it threat. Okay, threat, or I call it heat by accident. All right, so if I wanted to play this card here, I just play it out. I'm just going to play it over here so you can see. So for 1 action point, I am going to do this one here. So the cards tell you in order from top to bottom, think Gloomhaven, on how you're going to resolve these. Now you can skip certain parts, but actually, like if you don't do certain things, you can't trigger out the rest. But here it says pulse or burst. Now that tells you we're going to be looking at our weapons. So we have our different weapons over here, and they have their own different decks, by the way, which is really interesting because as you upgrade things, you upgrade or change things, that changes your decks and stuff like that. So like sniper rifles, I haven't seen all of them, but I just know that like you can change the kind of setup you have. So you can change your sniper rifle to assault rifle to all those different types of things, which will change your decks. Now that also changes your fire as well, because these Falcons right here, they can do pulse, which is just pulling 1 card off my ammo deck, or 3 cards and then discarding 1, because it's like da 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 da, right? Pat, 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 like that kind of thing, like Tracer. You notice I'm using all these different kind of things you might recognize if you play Overwatch 2. Rest in peace, Overwatch 2. Okay, here we go. Marvel Rivals is too good. I digress. All right, so if I'm going to do this, I decide if I want to take a pulse or a burst. So I'm looking at this guy, Scrapper number 3. Scrapper number 3 does not have much health. So maybe I want to just shoot once with this weapon. So I'll shoot once, but remember, I'm a gunslinger, so I can also shoot with my other weapon. Now, I'm going to make that choice that since they only have 3 in my fake scenario, I'm just going to go ahead and flip this over. That's going to kill him. Okay, so let's just go ahead. I'm going to bump this up to 5. I should have kept it up at the highest. So I'll go 3 here. That's going to cost 3 damage. But then I'm also, because I'm a gunslinger, going to flip this 2. And it's a miss, okay? So now he's down to 2, so he goes down to 2, but that's okay because it says damage, I inflict jammed. So if I had this, I didn't have the token out, but what I can do is I can jam his weapon, and then also this one here allows me to shoot through things. It's like a direct hit. So you have all these different conditions that happen. I should have pressed this up, which also gives me a resolve. Okay, so I can use that eventually. All right. Now for these other things, maybe I don't want to use these cards, and maybe I do. They're 0. They cost 0. This is movement here. This gives me a straight movement, but there are also standard actions, and they pretty much replicate what happens in here. So for movement, you're going to take a look at the movement that you have. I have 4 plus my boots, so that's 5. I can move in straight line. I can reload, which means I'm reloading this deck here. And there are penalties for reloading. So for example, this cybernetic arm, when I reload it, it actually gives an arm strain, which goes inside this deck, so I can basically fritz on that. When you have to refresh these skill cards, you're going to have to put in a suppression, and sometimes enemies will put that in your hand. It's like it junks out your hand and stops you from having a full hand, and there are ways to get rid of it because it tells you on the card to discard certain things. There are even people who can take a card that's suppression and use it to do something cool. Just so you know, There's a lot of interesting things that go on these decks. Okay, but that was just one of my actions. Maybe I just want to shoot. Okay, so maybe I just want to shoot. I'm going to go ahead and do this. All right, so I'll just play that just to shoot. All you have to do is discard a card, and you can take any one of these actions. So let's say I want to finish this guy off, number 3. I'm just going to go ahead and shoot again. Bang. Now, this is interesting because it's going to give an attack, it's a direct, and it's going to pierce that armor. So we want to pierce armor. Sometimes enemies will have armor, but this guy is going to get hit. Otherwise, if I use pulse, if I did use something else, it would have gave 1 hit. But remember, I can flip another one, and now I have 2 hits, which will go 1, 2, and take that guy out. Okay, boom. And that's the end of my turn because I did have only two action points. Now I'm just going to give you another run here just to show this, and I'll speed it up a little bit so you get an idea. A couple other things that you need to know. Cover. There's a cover mechanic in this game. So let's say I was going to shoot this guy here behind cover. It actually reduces the attack, or if I'm behind cover and they shoot at me, it reduces it by half, round it down. But like I said, I'm not going to get too in the weeds here. There's a cover mechanic in this game. You can also just use, I forgot to say, in standard movement, you can actually just move straight line. You can do a lot of little interesting little things and just kind of use the same tactics without having the cards. So there's always kind of some default things you can do. All right. So this guy, he actually has 6 cards in his hand. He also has that +1 attack. So he's really going to get up in there and beat this scrapper up. And the first thing he's got to do, okay, is get there. So I'm going to go ahead and do, and this is going to raise my threat up big time. It's 2 to raise this threat. And then what I'll do is I'll use combat tactic. I can move up to what I want, and then I'm going to get my hand right there. I'm going to give him a good old, you know, what do they say? What are you going to say? Well, we're going to play a game of, you know, we're gonna rumble, right, with my one arm. So I'm gonna go full Bucky on him. So it says combat tactic. I can move up to my movement. Then it says I can combo, and combo I'm gonna have to draw 3 cards. So let's draw the 3 cards. If the target is defeated, inflict jam on an enemy within 3 of you. I don't have an enemy within 3 of me. So here we go. We're gonna go boom. Oh Lord, pulse and cover. Let's see here. Ooh, this is ugly. All right. Oh, this is ugly. Lord have mercy. All right. So now targets in cover could have been killed. So that guy could have been killed. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is obliterated. So we have a lot of damage. I just want to show you. So you have direct hits, and sometimes enemies need these direct hits because it'll hit through their cover. It'll hit through their armor. But you also got to pay attention to your deck because although these cards are cool, you are also going to have moments where you're like, okay, I know this is there, I know this is there, and this is gone. So you got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. And that is their turn. Okay, I'm just going to play this, and I'm also going to speed it up. There's some other things in here like area effect attacks and things like that. So you have those as well. There are cards where you attack, move, attack, move. This one here, this mindset that's back here, it's called a stance, just like these. And I believe you just add more of these as the game goes along. Better skill cards, of course. You're going to be able to develop and add more points, you know, like different cooler things, abilities to your hand, because you're going to evolve in this game. You do level up in this game. You have the stance, which I get +1 armor. You'll be playing these cards from your hands for actions as well. All right. Cool. You even have like a kind of like a journey down certain paths: Berserker, Gladiator, Shock Trooper. So you have different kind of themes that you're going to be adding as well. So just keep that in mind. This game is about developing your character and giving it personality. The guns have their own personality in a sense, right? But these players, the players that you are playing as, they will evolve and become better at what they do. All right, so this guy's gone. But let's just say they stuck around. Okay, let's just say they stuck around. We're going to kind of put some things in your way here. So what we're doing now is we're looking at the enemy. And the enemy says it's going to take cover. Now, take cover basically just means it's going to try to get somewhere where it can get behind things and then shoot as it's told. And it's looking for the highest threat. Where we're tied, we're kind of in the same distance. So they're going to try to move back here. Now, I'm not going to go into full cover rules and all that stuff, but he's going to try to move back. Maybe this guy tries to retreat. Let's say he moves back here. His movement's only 3. I'm just moving it just so you can get an idea. And then they would shoot. And let's just say I was right here. They're going to shoot me and I'm over here, you know, within distance. What I'm looking at here is it's going to tell me that it's attacking with its rifle. Actually, I'd be in distance anyway. So there you go. It's going to attack with its rifle, and it's going to pull from one of these decks. This is the light fire deck. This is the heavy fire deck, which could pop up based on the symbols that are here. And then I have my melee. So if they were right next to me and they had a melee attack, they would. So what'll happen is, let's just say number 2 is swinging at this. They shoot. It's going to take my threat down. So this is one of the ways that your threat can come back down. It's going to hit me for 2, and it tells me where it's going to hit me. It's going to hit me in the chest. So I'm going to watch out for that. It's going to hit me directly in the chest. I don't have any armor, so it's not going to stop that. There are different things that they can do. They can suppress me as well. But I'll just give you kind of idea of like what heavy enemies will do. So let's say they have like bosses and things like that. They'll do things like hit you in the hands, bigger hits. They'll hit locations so that it makes it worse for you. And that way, once again, once you get down here, you'll get some of these trauma cards, and those trauma cards will add negativity to your negativity. That's hilarious. To your board, to your deck as well. I should also mention that sometimes enemies will join into the fray. So you'll have guys pop up over here. Let's say a guy pops up over here. A guy could pop up over here as well. And that's according to some of the events that will occur in the game. And like I said, once again, at the end of the round, you'll see something that says, at the end of the round, resolve this. That comes from a side book that's there that tells you exactly what it is, and those things change based on the mission, and they will tell you where to put those cards. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about bosses in a minute, but just to give you an idea, like this is a mini boss. This mini boss is I'm calling it a mini boss. They just changed the colors of the squad, so you see Delta, Beta. This guy is red. He's lower leveled up, and there. By the way, there are a lot of enemies in this game. I got plenty. Okay, I got plenty. It's not, you know, not to rinse and repeat from what I've seen so far. But you got enough enemies, and there's leveled up versions of them. These enemies, of course, will get better. As you can see, there's a lot more attack on here, a lot more movement and different things and icons. But those are based on the icons and stuff like that. They may move faster, things of that nature. But yeah, there's nothing like crazy insane to understand, you know, or translate. But I just wanted to give you an idea how that is. Now, I want to talk about the boss. So we're just going to slide this out of the way, and we're going to talk about the boss. No edits. We're going to just show you what's up. Now, the boss, of course, takes up more space. And with the boss, you're going to have different body parts that are going to be on here. And I'll just give you like kind of a quick rundown. There will be different body parts, and there'll also be things that trigger reactions. So think of, you know, an animal in Monster Hunter that when you break off a piece of its armor, it's going to react. It's going to change its body. Think primal, reaction based. But there are also going to be parts that you break that break down its armor. And if you break off the left side or the right side, it will reduce its armor down so that you can attack it and have a better chance of attacking it, because you're going to need cards like this that have direct hits on them, like we had on one of these over here, like this that goes through shields, goes through covers in order to hit it. Without it, though, they're going to have a lot of armor. It's going to really stink. So you got to watch out for that. That's kind of those enemies. There's also a silent mission or stealth mission. They have routes. They have route tokens that they move around on in line of sight. You're going to be doing, you know, doing things, trying to recover people and rescue them. It's very, very easy to understand, which is good because it seems like there's a lot of competition for these new stealth games right now, and they're all doing it pretty good. So I guess just the sign of the times is we're doing really good with the stealth stuff. So that's the game in a nutshell. It's not everything in the game. It may seem like I'm blabbering on, but I don't want to keep you here long. So let me just kind of come up with some more thoughts. This game does a little bit of everything the right way, and it's gonna feel like the games that you love, like a Mass Effect, even like Earth Under Siege that just came out. You're gonna get some of that itch, but maybe this theme is a little bit more of your style. I think this right here, this activation squad formation is very innovative to me. Using the ammo deck in this way is very interesting to me, and just the combination of how this comes together, whether you're playing solo or you're playing multiplayer, it's easy to get to the fun in this game simply because everything is easy to understand and translate. All the cards are easy to translate as is. All these, the ammo decks create a lot of fun just by the fact you can kind of have more fun by having different types of weapons. So that is Terminus Frontier in a nutshell. Hopefully I gave you an idea of what this big game is. Of course, always a work in progress. There's edge case rules they're already looking at, balance stuff they've already addressed. I gave them a ton of feedback. I'm sure a lot of content creators are giving them a ton of feedback. But of course, this is in prototype form, so I expect things to get better. I've been looking forward to this campaign. Well, and I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but I definitely will be paying attention myself. All right. Party people, you take care and have a wonderful day. You have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. You take care. Thank you for joining me on MVM. Please stick around. Like and share if you care. All right. Take care.